Info mapping. Mind mapping was copyrighted by Tony Buzan. Info mapping is our version of this tool. The idea is that your central topic or main topic goes in the middle like a title. The next level out hold the subtopics. The next levels out from there go into greater detail. Let's look at an example. Here's an example of a map about mapping. In the middle we see it says Info Map, that's our title, and then we see in green and blue and orange, purple and kind of light blue, we have our subtopics. We have graphics, words, pictures, content, and structure. By the way, when you make a map, you want to start at about the 1 o'clock position, like here for graphics, and move in a clockwise direction. That's international convention. Now let's look at the graphics, which you'll notice are all in green. And this is what we want to do. We want to group our subjects together in different colors. It's best to do a map in landscape mode, because if we go in portrait, we're more likely to run out of room because we write to the left and right. Color. Maps should have a lot of color to make them look attractive, and we find that color aids memory. You'll notice the lines are curvy. We want them to be organic and flowing like in nature. Now let's move on to blue, words. We're trying to write a single word per line. If you need to do 2 or 3 to make your point, that's okay. Printed words are better than words that are written cursively. Somehow the brain reacts better and has better memory when we print words. And all we're looking for are keywords. In other words, think of info maps as fancy bullet points. Now let's move on to the orange section. This has to do with pictures. Pictures can show our topics and our subtopics. They can be used to illustrate points, and they aid in recall. Now we're going to move on to the purple. Content. It should be personal, meaning that your map has a lot of meaning for you. It should be fun to do and fun to look at and aesthetically pleasing to work with. You may find it interesting to note that when people take projects and map them out, the projects tend to go better. We have a better attitude toward our project because it looks nice and it's all on one page, giving us the impression that it's doable. And finally, let's look at structure in the light blue. It's known as a radiant hierarchy because everything comes out from the center, and we can draw associations between things, like between pictures and key ideas, keywords. And order. It does give order if we want it. We can see that it goes from the green to the blue, to the orange, to the purple, to the blue in that order. And we can have all our smaller little detail lines have order as well. Speaking of lines, they start off thick in the middle and get thinner as we go out toward the edges toward greater detail. Info mapping holds a record of what you've learned when you read or listen, like from a lecture. The use of pictures and color make it more intriguing than a simple bulleted list. One great use of info maps is for study. Let's look at how that works. When taking notes, use this procedure. Step 1, preview. Step 2, read the material. Step 3, map. Do not look at the book while mapping. Map from memory only. You're parroting. Step 4, consider if you have enough information. If so, go to the next pages. If not, go to Step 5. Step 5, review the material. Step 6, add to your map, and again, only from memory. Repeat. Repeat the procedure all through your pages. Repeat reviewing and adding if necessary. Let's look at a couple more examples. Here's one for reading. As you can see, we have sources in blue, preparing to read in green, memory in red, reading in purple, and light blue are goals. So let's take a quick look at sources. Where can we get sources of reading material? From books, the internet, newspapers, journals, reports. How about preparing to read? We want a preview. And what are our 3 ways to preview? We've got key sentence previewing, name and number scan, and novel previewing. Memory. Well, here's something from our Super Memory course. So if you have that or you study that, these things should look familiar to you. The room, journeys, mental shouting, repetition, and here we will cover spaced repetition. The purple, reading itself. Let's look at the purple, reading. We always want to be pointing or guiding our eyes along as we read. That's going to give us high comprehension. We always put comprehension first. Later you'll learn about the half-page speed up. Hopping, you know about, that's eye hopping, and you can hop while you read. And reviewing, very, very important, of course. In orange, we have attitude. Belief, we must believe that we can be a brilliant reader. Affirmations can go a long way towards speeding up that process and making it permanent. We need to have a can-do attitude, that yes, of course I can do this. And we have to be patient with ourselves, because sometimes things take a while to sink in. And we must persevere for the same reason. And in light blue, we have goals. We should have daily goals and long-term goals for what we want to read for our career and education, what books we want to read, and what chapters of what books we want to read. Okay, one more example for IHOP. Okay, we can see IHOP is in the middle. That's our title, and then we're going to use the same colors we did before, but now blue is for purpose, green is for method, red is for advancing, purple is for reading, orange is for sources, and the light blue is for benefits. So let's look at purpose first. We've got help reading, and we can read in multiple words, and it helps us read long lines. We can read faster, we can defeat subvocalization, and we can read with high comprehension. Let's move on to method. We use our finger or a pen to guide our eyes. And in red, advancing, when our finger either can't keep up with our brain or when our finger looks blurry. We move from the 2-word to the 3-word, 3 to the 4, and 4 to the 5. Now let's move over to the purple, reading. We read text. We can use IHOP to read wide text in 2 or 3 hops. There's the half-page speed up, hopping, just when we read. Sometimes we skate, sometimes we hop, depends on how we feel. And we can also hop when we review. Moving over to the orange, sources. We can read from the IHOP booklets, which are PDFs, grabbable text from the internet or from Word documents, then obviously the internet, and the Hopify website, where you can make your own IHOP. And finally, what are the benefits? We get speed, accuracy, convenience, and, maybe most importantly, we're defeating subvocalization. So there you can see how an info map can organize the information, make it look a little nicer, use a couple of pictures, and basically give us all the information we need on one piece of paper.